now time for Top Talkers. We're going to check in on the panel right now. John Brenner's joining us from CFRA. Jeff Hopper managed to run right over doing weather and traffic, and Cub Carson's joining us from 93.9. So here's the situation. You go through this crazy labor, and then you have this beautiful baby, and then you look at the baby, and as a parent, you're hoping for, you get the 10 toes, the 10 fingers, and you're just praying for a healthy baby. Imagine now that it is a completely different outlook on how we are raising our kids and the information that we are going to know. We are talking about knowing the genetic code of our children. And so the doctor could say, it's a boy, it's a girl, and also they're going to have sticky earwax, they're going to be lactose intolerant, they're going to be nearsighted, they are prone to obesity, they're not going to be able to run any marathons, we're hoping that the heart won't give out, and then all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, do I even want to know this information? Would you want to know? Do you want to be able to have access to something like this?
Not really. I still view, it's part of the wonder. You want to live life. And I don't want to live life worrying about the what ifs, could be, what about this, should I be doing this? And I see the value in it. If, say for instance, you've already been identified as a couple at risk because of some, certain genetic issues or family-related health issues that have been passed on through generations. Yeah, sure, it makes sense to find out if this has been passed on, and maybe there's something you can do early to ensure that the junior has a better chance.
So if there's a specific condition that you were looking for?
Well, exactly. Like, let's say if, like for instance, my father had heart disease. His father had heart disease. Everybody within his family has heart disease. Probably a good idea, but not only that, do I need that test? Do I really need that test? It kind of seems to me the handwriting is already on the wall. So with my children, I have to say, guys, guess what? Got to live smart early so you don't end up a casualty later in life.
Don't you think that the issue is that the way that they'll be telling you that you're prone to heart disease would be like you have a 56% chance of getting heart disease and a 40% chance of being lactose intolerant? I feel like parents would only listen to those percentages and then worry most about that. So then you're not giving your kid milk because he's probably going to be lactose intolerant. In fact, he's probably not going to be lactose intolerant, or she, because it's a 60% chance they won't get it. That's how the genetics work. Like, it's all percentages. So I don't know how that information helps you except to spread fear.
I think the variant is the human condition. I think humans in general, we tend to accept challenges, and a lot of us can rise above those challenges. And I think that what they might say is happening when the baby hasn't even been born yet, like, oh, this might happen, this might happen. For me, that's a lot of mights. I'd rather deal in the reality of the whole thing, and I'm a new dad as well. My son's just about to be 1 year old next month. And so far, so good. 10 fingers, 10 toes, everything's well. But we do keep an eye on things, and I think what this does is this kind of gives more fuel to the fire for a lot of parents that might be helicopter parenting.
Right.
The ones that they're already on top of everything. Oh my God, he fell down. Oh my God, he's crying. The way I'm trying to handle it is to try to not make as big a deal about it, so that the child doesn't react and then he says, okay, well, I got that kind of reaction, I'll continue doing that. I think this kind of information just makes already parents that are a little tightly wound up even tighter wound up.
Well, I think that's the key, and I think we're losing the freedom for our children to be able to explore and do things themselves, because we already have, as a parent, likely kind of, we tend to ease them into the directions that we think we want them to go, and I think that would be limiting them, especially too if they're saying you're just going to have a weaker heart, so I don't want them running around too much, that you're shifting what likely could have been a much more open childhood.
Right.
Yeah, and you have no clue, and with kids, and Cub hit it right on the nail. It's learned behavior. So do we want to be raising a generation of OCD kids because they've been taught by mom and dad that they have to obsess over every little thing that might go wrong in their lives? And because health is the #1 thing, okay? So if you're that way about health, I think you could end up being that way about a lot of other things.
The thing that is always the unknown in a situation when you have children is the human potential. It's something amazing that happens. We see it defy science all the time. We hear about asthmatics who run marathons. You'd be told right away, well, your child's going to develop asthma. They will not be doing marathons. Now you're avoiding that. And you just hear about the human beings overcoming circumstance all the time. And that, I think, was the most special part about being a human being.
What about if we're creating it prior to? I mean, we talked about Gattaca. I mean, sometimes you're looking at movies from before and realizing that science is actually catching up and making it reality, that people will actually be kind of coming together, looking to create these perfect children. And but this is the science that is going to be available to us. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of its being available.
I'm more concerned with where this leads to in the future. Where does this mean now that we can have designer babies? It's like, well, your son's going to be born with brown eyes. Well, can you change that and make it blue? You know, it's just, I think life needs to happen, and it's great that scientists have work to do. That's fantastic. But I don't think parenting is an exact science, and I think that these kind of things can be very misleading. Like Jeff said, you automatically put up obstacles for your children when we should be teaching them to try to overcome those obstacles.
It's just one more thing to add to because we can, we do. Doesn't mean that we should.
Interesting topic this morning. Something to think about when we're talking about that genetic coding and what is being made available and what science is able to do. Thanks to our panel, to Cub, to Jeff, and to John.